Welcome back to the Kingsway Podcast. So excited you are here. We got a new segment for you today. In the hot days of summer, we're going to hit you with some hot takes.
If you don't know what hot takes are, you're probably in the majority. But let me explain it this way. This is what's happening. Hot takes are when you think you're in the minority on an issue, your opinion of an issue.
Yep.
And you're not going to let go.
Yep.
So
basically just think of it like this. You're bringing the heat and others are going to try to cool you down because they don't agree with your opinion. But you got that hot take.
Here's a common hot take.
Yes.
Which I have an opinion on. But a common hot take is pineapple on pizza.
Facts.
That it shouldn't be on there. That's the majority opinion usually.
I don't need to put nature's dental floss of fruit on what would be the most delicious.
Are we starting this now?
I'm just saying, I don't need that on my pizza in any shape.
Some of the best foods are both savory and sweet.
I agree with you.
And I think that those little non-aggressive fruit gushers on top of that pizza.
Oh my gosh.
With the tomato sauce. That's what you need.
No, bro.
You know how they say sometimes with a chili or spaghetti,
no,
you got to put like a little bit of sugar in it to cut the acidity?
I agree with you on that.
That's the pineapple on the pizza.
It tastes too much like dental floss to me. Every time I eat it.
It's just the texture of pineapple.
It's the texture of pineapple.
But
I'm not
if there was like
sweetness.
If there was like a solidified pineapple flavored rectangle on your pizza without that texture,
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So that's an example of a hot take.
I would just drink a Coke. I'm just going to be honest. I would just drink a Coke with it. And then it'd be. But no, like I agree. That is a hot take. Good one.
Okay.
It's a good example.
That's a very popular hot take.
That will be. So basically what we're telling you is this podcast is either going to infuriate you or you're going to feel like you have a friend that you didn't know you had.
You have
when
allies
we started.
here
You have an ally
in the pineapple pizza camp.
It could divide the room. If you're listening to this with a group of people or in the car, this might be the one you need to play for friends for them to hear the truth.
Yeah.
The truth of the hot take that we're about to lay on you.
You need to start with, hey, my pastor had this podcast and he said something really, really important. I think you need to hear it. And it's just that pineapple belongs on pizza.
Dude, that's it. Well, now here's the fun thing. This is going to be a fun one. We're not going to, jump into deep theological issues. We're staying light. So before you start freaking out that we're going to start laying out some hot takes for Bible and church stuff.
Let's talk marijuana legalization.
Exactly. Let's talk about, oh my gosh, eternal torment or annihilationism. Let's just jump in. We're not doing it. However, we are going to have some fun. This is for those road trips. This is for those times that you're on your lawnmower and you just need some silly fun. This is for when you want to win the argument with your wife and you're using us as a weapon to vilify.
We will fight her for you.
Yes, exactly. And you don't have to say anything. You just go, there it is. That's the truth.
Look at these two experts over here. They know what they're talking about. So basically, we've each come up with hot takes.
Yep.
And we're going to present ours, and whether or not the other person agrees, they're going to play devil's advocate and try to tear it down. A little bit. It doesn't have to be ruthless.
But to the bone ruthless. I'm just kidding. No, but don't get too ruthless. I'll get my feelings hurt.
Why? Okay. You want to start or me?
You start. This was Ryan's idea. Okay. I love it. So I feel like the pineapple one was good, but I want to know one. But that was pretty. I mean,
that's a common one. Everybody has heard that for the most part, unless you've never eaten pizza.
Give me a hot take on a hot summer day.
I'm going to start off with my ultimate hot take.
Oh man.
Should I save that for later?
Save it for later.
I'm saving it for later.
Give me something lighter. Don't start out because I'm going to have to go full devil's advocate.
Okay. There are 20 plus Marvel movies out right now.
Yes.
When Endgame came out, Sharon and I watched through all of them, and there were like 22 before that one. Yeah. Something like that. Now you could debate like the first Hulk and whatever. Okay. There's about 22, 23 in the cinematic universe plus a couple since then. I think that Thor: The Dark World, that is Thor #2, is one of the best of them.
Remind me of the plot because I always get Ragnarok and then the first one mixed up.
So Thor: The Dark World, Thor and Loki are just kind of at each other's throats as normal.
Is this where that she touches it and then it comes into the world? Okay.
It's the reality stone, but it's in the ether. That's what it's called.
Ether. Yep.
So this Thor movie, I think, is the best out of a lot of the Marvel. I won't say it's the best Marvel movie because that's hard to pin down, but I'll say it's one of the best. And here's why. Before I'd watched all those leading up to Endgame in a row, I didn't even remember it.
Yeah.
I was like, did I just have a fever dream and that was Thor the Dark World? Or, yeah, and it gets overshadowed by the first one a little bit because it's the first one.
And then Ragnarok.
And by Ragnarok,
so
because Ragnarok took not a 90-degree turn, but like a 180-degree turn and just backtracked so
Jed,
hard.
who's been on the podcast before, it's his least favorite Marvel movie is Ragnarok.
I like it a lot, but it definitely is
He just
different.
thought it ruined the characters because it just took them a complete different direction. I completely agree. Now, if I'm playing devil's advocate, the fact that I remember literally nothing from that movie right now is not helping me believe that statement is true.
Yeah.
That this is also, I thought the first Thor movie was terrible.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
And so it felt like it took what wasn't a great movie and just made it a 4-hour movie. Yeah. If I'm remembering. Like
so
that's
the first Thor movie, there was barely a villain.
Yeah.
There was it was mostly supposed to be character development.
It was like
but
a
it didn't
zombie
really
version of the Mercury Man from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Like that's like it was just like this
like,
wrapped metal.
It was just a metal guy.
And now that you've seen what Thor can do, you're like, why didn't you just squash him? But yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Thor the Dark World happened after the first Avengers, if I'm not mistaken. So Loki is locked up by the Asgardians.
Yep.
But he's so tricky, he can not shapeshift, but do illusions to make himself look like different people, sound like different people. So he's locked up most of the movie. This is Loki's best movie, and that's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
It's like his Dark Night of the Soul in all the movies.
Yeah.
And it ends with him literally stabbing his brother in the back because he thinks he's dead.
Yeah.
He fakes his own death, and his brother's like having a rough time.
Yeah.
With this whole thing. Meanwhile, it was just an illusion to escape the grasp of the authorities once again. Anyway, let me just say I've seen this movie for the last time 3 years ago, so I don't remember the plot super well either.
No.
But when I watched them all 22, 23 in 5 weeks, which was a lot, that was one of my favorites. And here's why. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has a lot of internal storylines. One character and their world have a storyline.
Yep.
And a bunch of those aren't very cosmic. So out of the original Avengers cast, Avengers 1, there's Hawkeye. He just shoots arrows.
Yep.
He's just a human.
Yep.
There's, I almost said Scarlet Witch, but Scarlett Johansson, who's Black Widow.
Yep.
She's just a spy. She's just from Russia. Yep. That's on Earth still.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is just a soldier.
Yep.
Tony Stark is just a genius, billionaire philanthropist. Bruce Banner is just a genius.
Yep. And then
there's Thor. He's the one person who has anything to do with anything outside of the Earth.
Yeah.
But what I love about superhero stuff, which is why I like DC better for so long, is it's so cosmic.
Yep.
It's like the fate of the whole galaxy, or
the other worlds and all that.
Or like I can't remember the villain's name, the Silver Surfer's nemesis. He just goes around and eats planets, and you're like, that's a pretty big villain. But then
Galactus.
Galactus, yeah. The first Thor is just like, I am a metal guy and I shoot lasers.
Yes.
Get
but then
that
the
out of
ether
here.
is much more of like this, like evil that comes and devours planets. I agree.
It feels more like a sci-fi adventure.
Yeah.
Thor: The Dark World does than just Iron Man, where it's like there's a guy and he doesn't like.
So I will combat you with this by saying Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie by far that's ever, and that's my hot take. And that's purely because I am looking at character development, storyline, and filming. The action in that movie is the best action in all of the Marvel movies. There is one scene where they're in the road and Bucky and Captain America are fighting. Yes. That scene when he kicks Captain America and he hits the car, and like when he hits his arm or he stops the shield, there's a weight to that scene and to that movie that just doesn't carry through a lot of the others, whether it gets lighter, whether it becomes like Ragnarok, whether it becomes just a little bit different. That movie seems to have a healthy weight to the fight scenes and to what's going on, that it makes you, even though it's human versus human on Earth, it feels bigger. It feels like it's something larger.
It feels
at
like
stake.
a power because Bucky himself isn't the full depth of what they're fighting. They're fighting whoever's controlling him, whatever happened to him in the past.
And there's something larger at play, and there's a friendship that's trying to bond them. I just find it to be a thrilling thing. Yeah. Now, let's jump off of Marvels, because not everybody's a Marvel fan. I'm going to go with my hot take. In-N-Out is the best fast food chain in the entire country. Change my mind. Don't come at me, because I know you're going to come at me with Culver's, and I'm going to shoot you down.
I'm not going to say Culver's is the best in the entire country, because I don't think either of those are the best in the entire country.
I don't know what's better. I like anything elevated. What are you going to go? Shake Shack? Like, where are you going?
Are you talking burgers specifically?
I'm just saying fast food. Like, you go through the drive-thru, you go and you eat a simple thing, quick as possible, get out.
I'd say, I don't know if this is just me and my preference.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the big chicken restaurants I'd take over the big burger restaurants.
So like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's. I love Raising Cane's. I know you don't like
the sauce.
Bro,
there's crack cocaine in their sauce, and that's there is. That's all it is.
I'd snort it any day.
Thousand Island and some sort of ridiculous
just for the FBI,
pickle Danish.
I will not snort that any day. In case you're listening.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I love Chick-fil-A for my kids and for the consistency and for the service. I think it's awesome. But there is something about the way that In-N-Out does what they do. And maybe it's nostalgia for me. They're open late. Like, it was just...
I think the best thing about In-N-Out is the culture and you knowing that you're at In-N-Out versus at a burger restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the actual food, although the food's good.
Mm-hmm.
I won't ever bash In-N-Out because I think it's great. But I can't say it's the best.
See, I went through the Lauro stage where In-N-Out wasn't in my state, and I loved it. But then In-N-Out became a mile away from my house. And I loved
Arizona.
it even more. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it even more. And it became one of those places that, like, Katrina didn't even like burgers. And then by the time before we left, like, it was one of those, like, we just went there. Like, it was just like, this, what is better at this price point? What is this consistent? And whether I've had it in Arizona, whether I've had it in California, whether I've had it in, I think, Texas, it's all the same. Like, it's the same thing everywhere I go. And I know for some people, they're like, the fries are bland, the burgers are just plain. Like, there's nothing on the menu. I get it.
What do you get at In-N-Out? Do you do the animal style stuff?
No, I don't do any of the wacky stuff. I just like the bun to burger ratio. I think the cheese to burger to bun ratio is crispy. They can do it extra toast, a little extra crisp on the fries, like light well.
Yeah.
Like, if I go there, I struggle because when I used to go there, I would get like 5 or 6 burgers, 2 fries, and like a milkshake and a drink, and like I'll go all in. And obviously, you can tell this is what that's led to.
Yeah, it's paid off.
It's paid
in
off.
ways you didn't want.
But I also know that when I went like Dallas, Texas last time, and I got 3 cheeseburgers, a fry, and just a small drink, I knew down to the cent what that cost.
Yeah,
I knew down to this. I was like, hey, I want 3 burgers, light well on the, light well on the buns, and I want 2 orders of French fries, light well, which means that's an extra 30 seconds of cook time. I know that because that's how easily I could customize my food. I love that. I think the fast foods that do that. I love how they pay their people. I think they offer college support. They offer the career pass. They guarantee time off. They do training for their managers. I mean, like, I just think as a whole, there's just so many things more than just their food and their culture that to me, it sticks out as one of the best. It's
I'm okay with you
burger.
Believing that. I think if I'm going to go to a burger place and I've had In-N-Out in the past 6 months, so it's not like I need to get In-N-Out because we're here. I think if In-N-Out and Culver's and Shake Shack and Steak and Shake and Freddy's were all next to each other, In-N-Out would be my 5th.
Your 5th?
Yeah.
Holy cow. I would go to In-N-Out every time if you listed all of this. Every single time. I wouldn't even be a question. Like, I would be like, all of those are trying to be this.
Yeah.
Good try. Shake Shack's the only one
that can compete.
They can compete. But it's a different style of restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different style of what they're trying to do. This, to me, is fast food. Shake Shack feels like, fast casual, where it's like trying to be a little bit more than just a fast food restaurant.
And I think that's what Steak and Shake tries to do, although Steak and Shake is so old by now, it's like...
Steak and Shake is
dated.
A poor man's Freddy's. That's all I'll say.
I'm okay with that. But that's part of what I love about it.
Mm-hmm.
We Sharon and I get water a bunch of places we go. Mm-hmm. So you show up to Steak and Shake, $4 for a burger and fries.
Yeah.
And it's a burger that I love and fries that I have to eat with a fork because they're so small.
So small. Yep.
But okay.
Next
I think
hot
we beat
take.
that to
Next
death.
hot take. Yep.
This is on a similar level. This is my ultimate hot take.
Oh gosh. Bring it.
Now this is 3 levels.
Mm-hmm.
There's a central claim, and then there are 2 branching off. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Hot dogs and burgers are a sandwich. Those should be classified as a sandwich.
Both are sandwiches.
And here's the shoot-offs from those. A hot dog is a sandwich because a Subway sandwich is a sandwich.
Yeah.
If you say that the bun connects at one side, therefore it's not a sandwich,
you're going to
you have to throw out
so many people with this.
Every sandwich that does that.
Yep.
I almost said Long John Silver's, Jimmy John's.
Yep.
And Subway and everywhere.
Any sub place.
So what's the difference between a Subway sandwich and a hot dog?
And why don't we call a burger a sandwich?
Yes. So here's the leg for that. I think a burger is a sandwich because I think the full name for a cheeseburger is a hamburger patty sandwich with cheese.
Yeah.
You're the only person who's ever been agreeable to that.
So here's the thing. Why don't, but that to me infuriates me because I'm like, why don't we call it that?
I think just because it's such a specific niche thing. You don't have sandwich restaurants that sell burgers, and you don't have burger restaurants that sell sandwiches unless they sell a ton of other stuff too.
So like if someone came to the States and they didn't know our culture, and they didn't know what we called it, like, and they were like, "Do you want a hamburger?" They legitimately would just think the patty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's all they would think.
Yeah.
Do you want a hamburger with cheese? Do you want a beef patty with cheese on it?
They may know that it's a burger sandwich.
But if they're learning English, they may not. That's what I'm saying.
They may not. But I think if they studied American culture at all, the like obvious American culture things are like McDonald's, burgers, everyone's fat.
Yeah.
Like that's what you run to at the beginning.
Fat and happy.
And
Ryan.
baseball is the national whatever.
Yep.
And
we don't like football.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But that's the thing. I believe that the core statement in all of that is that a burger.
You guys agree? I want to know.
A cheeseburger.
I want to know all the things.
Is the short name for a hamburger patty sandwich with cheese, or a ground beef patty sandwich. Hamburger and ground beef are the same thing, but you could switch them out. A ground beef patty sandwich with cheese.
I want to hit a hot take that I think people are just gonna jump down my back and possibly try to punch me through the camera.
Yeah.
Video games are a sport.
That just deserves a sigh.
I know.
Oh, no. So, I think if we're going to make that argument, you have to define what a sport is. Because football is a sport. Is marching band a sport? And is cheerleading a sport?
Yep. Cheerleading's been classified as a sport.
So, how, though? Like, what in your mind makes it a sport that would make video games a sport?
So, a video game, in my mind, is different than cheerleading and band. Competing in a video game that is a competition.
Yeah.
So I don't want to so that's the part of the statement I'll relinquish. If you're playing a solo game.
Like Minecraft is not a sport.
No. But if you're playing a competitive PvP, player versus player game, and you are competing, say like Rocket League, that is literally car soccer.
Yeah.
So you're going to say car soccer is not a sport, but soccer is a sport. In my mind, I'm like, the only difference is literally double entendre. The vehicle in which you're playing the sport.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that to me is
does that matter?
Does that matter? And then so I'm like,
is chess a sport?
Yeah, good call. And in so many ways, I'm like, yes, it's a competition. It is a sport.
What's the difference between a competition and a sport?
Good call. What is it? Because the Olympics fight that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like you're shooting a gun and skiing. What sport is that? It's a sport, evidently. Speed walking is a sport, but yet video games can't be a sport. I don't understand.
I think that the secret lies within what's a sport and what's a competition. Because I think competition is the umbrella under which sport falls.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that every competition is a sport.
So that's where I would say if you're
like a cooking show, is that a sport?
So that's what I would tell you. A video game that either personifies or shows the exact same thing that would be considered a sport in real life becomes a sport in video game competition.
Are sports measured by strong metrics?
Yeah.
Every like physical traditional sport I can think of has points, has whatever.
Yeah.
Has a goal line, but like, how would a cooking show be a sport?
Exactly.
It's all subjective, even if it's in categories like savoriness.
You can't have like savory
texture,
72
mouthfeel.
and like
yeah, because then coffee roasting would be a sport. How did your coffee cup, and what were the notes, and how did I perceive it to be? Is that a sport?
Exactly.
I don't think it's a sport.
No.
I think it's a competition.
And so that's my whole point, is that disc golf, at times, golf and disc golf are considered a sport, but it's not necessarily 99% of golf is not how strong you are. It's your technique.
Yeah.
It's how well you hit the ball.
So I'd say a sport necessitates clear, objective scoring.
Yeah.
So not all video games are a sport.
Mm.
I'd say sports video games are a sport. And I think you could make an argument that like first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Fortnite, that's third person, but that stuff like that are sports. That just hurts my soul.
I know it's. I'm not saying I'm not saying that they're equal in the sense of like they display or have healthiness to the body. You know what I mean? But I do think there is a technical side of video games that amplifies, personifies team competition and mechanical, skill and putting yourself to the test and growing and grinding and helping yourself get better at something. That is the important side of sports. And that I'm not saying that playing soccer and playing the video game of soccer has the same physical, obviously benefits. But I do think there is a point where if you're playing with a team and you're competing, that both those lessons can be learned on the teamwork side in a very real way.
I think I would define some video games as sports. As I do that, I would be worried enough, and that worry would lead me to redefine what traditional sports are. Like because like soccer's not technically a contact sport,
but it is.
It is, and it turns out to be, but it's not meant to be like football for sure, rugby for sure, basketball kind of. Baseball, maybe 5%.
Yep.
Like tagging somebody, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We would need a new name for those if we call video games a sport.
I'm just saying, their video games can be in our sport.
Okay. Here's going to be my last one.
Go.
Because we shouldn't make this 50 minutes.
I'm gonna throw out a few at the end, but we won't get to talk about them. But yes, go ahead.
Okay. My last hot take. I think that 2000s pop music was terrible, and 2010s. Let me clarify. Mid 2000s pop music was terrible. Mid 2010s pop music was great, and it's still great.
So I graduated high school in 2003, and when I go back and listen to the music that was popular in 2003 pop wise, I am embarrassed that I sang those songs. I cannot agree. I like literally think about that all the time. Where I'm just like Bruno Mars and Maroon 5 and like some of the stuff.
I love Bruno Mars.
No.
But yeah.
Their 2013, 2015 releases
are
really, really good. Like really good. And when I go back and listen to Maroon 5 in 2005 when Letter to Jane or whatever it is came out, I like it. It's just not as good, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
and I made sure to clarify pop music because, like, what else was happening mid-2000s? Like Green Day.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good. Weezer. Great.
Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah. I'm talking pop music. Mm-hmm. So what I mean is, like, early Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
early Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think. I've blocked so much of that from my mind. Maybe, like, late Usher.
Yep.
Like... and here's what I mean. I don't mean the songwriting was worse then and it's better now. I mean the sound of the music. So you think of the 80s. 80s pop, I would say, is not hair metal. Push that out of the way.
No.
And you just get to fun synthy stuff.
Just like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and some Whitney Houston and Phil Collins. Genesis was maybe a little early.
But then you have like 90s is all like Offspring and Blink-182 and like.
I think both of those decades, the sound of those decades, I love.
They're
even
distinct.
if some of the songs were good
distinct.
or bad. Yeah, the sound of the mid-2000s.
You know what
was
it sounds like to me?
Gross.
It was money. There was boy bands, and it was just all these money grabs.
Yeah,
it just felt like they were saying.
Listen to this. If you have not seen the Drake and Josh movie. That whole movie is based on Drake writing a song with his band, and it's a rock song. And then they get a record deal, and they make it, and they're like, okay, here's your song. And it's got all this electronic garbage on it. That's how I feel about basically the entire sound of the mid-2000s. The closer to the middle of the 2000s you get, the worse
That's the worse it gets, and then it gets better as it gets out.
Like Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Oh.
Also just his voice. But beyond that, like T-Pain, incredible singer. If you've ever heard his Tiny Desk concert, I don't know if I can suggest that. I think it has some language in it.
But he doesn't. He uses autotune too much.
Yeah, he does it as an effect, as a fun thing. He doesn't need it, and when he doesn't use it, he sounds incredible. But when he puts on that top hat and turns it a little bit and does autotune, I'm like, why? You're ruining a good thing to make it different but bad.
Dude, I love your hot takes. I'm going to throw out a few more for you to argue about. Well, we're not here. And I want you to put your hot takes in the comments.
Please.
I want there to be like 50 comments on this thing.
And here's the incentive. If we like your hot take enough, we will put it in another hot takes episode.
Oh, absolutely. We will put that out for debate, and we will tag you.
Now, please make them tame.
Yes.
Don't do any political hot takes.
No,
any
keep
theological
these fun.
hot takes. These are all like stupid hot takes that have nothing to do with anything.
Stuffing at Thanksgiving is bread casserole. Change my mind. There's no way you can. It is the best bread casserole you've ever had in your life. But is dressing the same thing as stuffing?
The ways I've experienced it, yes.
Yeah.
Dressing does not make sense. I imagine a sauce, a salad dressing.
See, but my mom comes at me and she goes, if you're not stuffing it in the bird, then why is it called stuffing?
It could have been for stuffing, but it couldn't have been for dressing.
I said that. I'm like, dressing doesn't make sense. It's still stuffing, even if it's not in the bird. It's what you would have stuffed.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just bread casserole. Let's get over it.
I have one that I'm going to save for the next time, but my other one is just that Culver's is the Chick-fil-A of burger places.
Ooh.
So actually, we have a short amount of time.
Let's
talk about this. Culver's is the Chick-fil-A of burger places. Here's why I think that. Number one, it's stupid good. Number two, it feels safe. It feels like a gated community. Maybe you don't have great experiences of a gated community, but it feels like nothing bad can happen at a Culver's.
Yeah.
3, it feels like it's powered by God's Spirit. Both of those restaurants feel like that. Popeyes feels like they have a line to Satan or something.
Dude, I would say
pretty
Burger
strong.
King and McDonald's. I've been in all three of those in places, and I've been like, this place is rough.
Yeah.
There's a Burger King not too far away from here that I'm not kidding you. I'm like, this is not a safe place.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And it's just
you go into McDonald's and you feel like it's a dark alley. You're like, I hope nobody sees me here. But you go into Culver's and you're like, I'm here for my spa appointment. Like, it just feels good. It feels good to be there. Everything's great. Let me clarify. I've never had their pot roast sandwich.
Dude,
if we get 50 likes on this video, I will eat a pot roast sandwich from
here's
Culver's.
what I'll tell you about Culver's. Culver's to me is the epitome of the Midwest burger place.
Okay.
It is the
I'm good
epitome.
with that.
No, it's fine. It's one of those that I went, White Castle is the North. Like, it is like the North Culver's. And then the Midwest.
I think that's really hard to say.
I'm just saying,
because
like,
it's White Castle is the saddest burger place that exists.
Do you know why White Castle was created?
Why?
In the Great Depression, they ran out of meat. And so they took the leftover trimmings and stuffed a bunch of onions and then created it into a patty that was like the leftover, like, tendon loin nastiness of all. And then they made it into, and they just put enough grease and onions on it to make it taste good.
I feel a Great Depression every time I go there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but then it stuck with people and they actually liked it.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's every time I eat anywhere other than In-N-Out. That's what I feel like. I'm like, why would you choose?
I feel like Culver's is the Ben Rector of burger places.
Oh,
it's just nice.
It's just nice.
It's just refreshing. You're just like, I'm glad I'm here.
I love you. All right, last one. I have two more. I'm just going to throw these out. Harry Potter is the most underrated book series of the last 30 years.
And it's already highly rated.
It's just underrated. It needs to be a classic. More kids need to read it. I find it to be incredible, and most people just don't know. It either is it's been like banished into like this area of like never read it, untouchable, or like it was pretty good but a bunch of kids liked it. And I'm like,
that should be a separate episode.
It's not kiddie.
Us talking about how much we like Harry Potter. I think it's good enough that it should turn out to be one of these Penguin classics.
That's
in
what I'm
like
saying.
10 years. That's how good it is.
That's that good. Like I had to read Hatchet when I was like in, whatever. I'm like, make it a classic. Like you read it over the course of like, 3rd grade to
the
to
tough
10th
part is
grade.
it's 8 books.
I know. 8th grade to 11th grade. You got to read one every year.
You only get
or a 3rd grade to 11. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to read.
I don't know if I would force 3rd graders to.
Now that first book's only 100 pages though.
Book 6 as a 6th grade or book 4 as a 6th grader.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough.
Goblet of Fire, bro. It's where
hey,
junior high is about to start.
Come to English class and learn about death.
All right, man. These are farm kids. They learned about it way before that.
They learned about it at 6 months old.
No good Mexican food can come from a chain restaurant. I
disagree.
No good Mexican food can come from a chain restaurant.
Only because I've experienced it.
Chipotle is the only thing that I would say is somewhat close, but I don't even think that's. I just think it's.
Have you ever been to a Chuy's?
Yes, that is Tex-Mex to me, and
is Tex-Mex is Mexican.
It kind of. I'm
writing that down.
Abuelos is pretty good, but it's also Spanish Mexican food. I got engaged after going to Abuelos. I want a hole in the wall. I want some amazing cook behind. I've had some of the best and only the best Mexican when it's not in a repeatable chain style. Got to crank it out in 2 minutes.
You just
make the masses healthy.
This is something that if we have Sharon on for a Hot Takes episode, she would fight you on.
Mm-hmm.
All it needs, the reason that chains fail is they don't, as they're duplicating what worked at the first place, they're not duplicating the Hispanic grandma making the tortillas at the front.
Yep.
That is the secret. And Chuy's has that. Yep. They employ Mexican grandmas.
Dude, if they got the legit cooks back there, that's great. I'm just telling you, I've eaten at a Chuy's. I've had decent experiences, but I just don't think great Mexican food comes from chains. The other thing is tacos and pizza are proof that death exists and that good things kill you. I just
earlier I heard you say that too much of a good thing can kill you.
Mm-hmm. So I literally changed it up. Tacos and pizza are proof that this world is fallen, death exists, and good things can kill you.
I feel like if Jesus at the wedding banquet of the Lamb was finding the best food for his wedding banquet, that he would have tacos and pizza.
100%, dude. If you haven't had some of the best, all right, take the best New York style pizza from New York, take the best Chicago style, take the best Detroit style, take the best like California kitchen, some sort of pineapple, whatever you want, and bring it.
I want it.
I don't know who's complaining at that banquet. Like no one's like, well, really, like. And then if you got tacos alongside of that, I feel like if you bounce back and forth between those two things, you could eat those forever.
Yeah.
The only problem is they kill you faster.
But they won't in heaven.
They won't.
That's not a hot take. That is an official theological stance of Kingsway Christian
Tacos
Church.
and pizza are in heaven. We've just decided that.
Well, that seems like a great place to wrap it up.
Great place to end.
That's the moral of the story.
Hey, we need more of these, and we need more debates. I want to hear your hot takes on these hot summer days, and I hope you had fun with this. I hope it sparked some conversations. I'm sure some of you had to pause and yell at your screen for a minute, or go find somebody and make sure that that you were right and that we were wrong, and to confirm. Maybe some of you, for the first time, you just talked at your phone. Or you just talked at your computer screen, or you just talked through your car and you were like, you're right. And you just had a full-on conversation with us and confirmed everything that I said, not what Ryan said.
Either way, as you're wiping the mascara away from your face, leave a comment, your hot takes. And if we like them enough, we will put them on the next one.
There's some more hot days coming up, so we'll get your hot takes. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe and like button so you can see more. Tell your friends if you think they'd enjoy this. Chosen comes out on Tuesdays. Remember to check those out. I think we'll be doing that every Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you next Thursday for another awesome episode of the Kingsway Podcast.
Yeah.
You guys have a great and glorious day in the Lord. We'll see you later.
See ya.